Hello, everybody. I have missed you guys so much. And thank you for watching me and for being here in our little community here. Um, so, I felt guided to do a reading this evening about dealing with the emotionally unavailable. Those kinds of people, who maybe not fully present. They can come in many different forms. I've come across many different types. But usually there are some similarities. So like those of us who are in balance, I like to say kind of in balance is the word, but for the purpose of this reading, it's coming out as a Queen of Wands. So whether you're a guy or you're a girl, it doesn't matter. This is interesting that it did manifest as a queen. Um, so this kind of energy, I want to say like those of us. This is in other words is people who are available, people who are in balance. Let's say we have a very strong connection and understanding of our emotions. We know how to become emotional, but not to the point, though, where we get so bogged down, let's say in our pity parties or things like that, where we can't live kind of a fulfilling life, where we are still able to give and connect with others. Even if we may be going through some things on our own. Now, conversely, being in balance for me also, or emotionally available, is also, it's kind of like where you still maintain a sense of compassion. So let's say you see someone else kind of going through a little pity party. You're able to be there for them, whether that means giving them some space or giving them some time, but it's where you still maintain a sense of compassion for another. In other words, your logic or our logic and our emotion are working in tandem. High vibrating. I want to also say like positive mindset, but realistic, not, false positive or, like forced positivity where we don't allow ourselves to feel any negative emotion. That's kind of avoiding. That's another form for me of emotional unavailability. It's like someone who can't face the negativity that is in the world. Life is messy, and that is a reality. There is such a thing as, heartbreak, anger, sadness. These are human emotions. But, like some people out there, they kind of don't allow themselves to feel it, or they minimize it because, oh, that's a negative thought. That's a negative thought. That's another way to be kind of detached from reality. Um, but anywho, so enough of that. Now let me get into dealing with the emotionally unavailable. So starting off now, this here now is one type. This Seven of Wands is really sticking out. Now this is like an energy of somebody who there's like a selfish energy here. This is like an energy of, I want. And it's kind of like very self-focused. It's like almost like a hunger in a way that will never be satiated, an appetite that will never be quenched, or like a thirst that will never be quenched. They're always wanting more, more, more. Also, this energy too makes me feel of an energy now of someone, let's say, who has been hurt in their past. Maybe they're wanting revenge, or maybe they're still in, like that victim mode of, I've been hurt. And I just saw 4:44 on the timer. Either case, this is how the energy of someone who's emotionally unavailable is manifesting in this reading. It also feels like there's underneath this here. See, there's the Nine of Pentacles, also the Nine of Swords right underneath it. This is like an energy too of, let's say, somebody who is deeply afraid of interdependence. Let's say like depending on another person. You know, like a friendship, very close friendship or very close relationships. For that to occur, there needs to be a sense of not codependence, but interdependence, where you allow yourself to be there fully for another person and support them and, maybe take that phone call, even though you may be a little busy. For someone that you care about, you take that damn call and you show up. Now, what these people do, in this particular type, this is like an energy of someone like who is afraid to be there too much, let's say, for another person, because it's taking away from their independence, from them being, whether it's like single, or it's more coming out like someone who is afraid to be there for another person because they don't want other people, let's say, to depend on them too much. That is toxic, and not really conducive to love, to a loving, healthy relationship. That's definitely one type of emotional unavailability. Now let me see now. So the way to deal with someone like this, because this is like an energy of kind of like someone who's resistant. They may be there for you like in the beginning, when you're maybe starting to get to know them. And then when they start to feel something and things maybe start to get a little close or closer, that's when they sabotage it. They sabotage, see, the relationship that's forming out of fear. So let me see, like, best way to, so the Tower. So the thing is that the best way I feel in this particular case to deal with those types of people, who maybe they pull back, they run away from you when things start to get close, is this Tower energy. So let me just clarify it, because what that is making me feel is either like cut it off, or, be vocal about what you're going to do or what you're feeling. It feels like action would be needed. There's the Emperor. So with the Tower and Emperor, and there's the Four of Wands, what it feels like is an energy of like you being vocal about it, but not in a way of trying to change that person. It's a matter of like having very good discernment for yourself and kind of realizing, okay, this person is obviously afraid of true closeness. They may have some demons that they're going through, things that they're not healing from. It may be also someone who is, I want to say like, it's almost like too independent, but it's more coming out in a way of someone who is, like they just don't want to be there for another person. That's where you need to take matters into your own hands. And I feel like maintain the balance in your life. Because the way this Tower is coming out is it's like, it makes me feel like it's something that needs to be, like, this thunderbolt is sticking out to me like either cut off or a boundary needs to be defined. And it's kind of like if you stay around, someone who is emotionally unavailable for too long, you will be hurt. Or it will be like kind of a dead, there's the Hangman. It's kind of like an energy of you either setting a boundary with that person and just kind of like leaving them be, or, saying it, but not in a very judgmental way. It's kind of like putting a boundary up for yourself to maintain your own stability in your life. So that you make sure, that you have people around you that you can depend on, and where it's reciprocal as well, where you are also the one who is dependent on as well. It goes both ways. But definitely, in the case of dealing with someone like that, who, oh, they get close, and then as soon as it starts to get close, they pull back. You need to, I feel it's the tower energy, which for me, the way that came out is set a clear, defined boundary. Sometimes it doesn't even need to be said to the person, It's more like, it feels like it's someone who's like pulling back, that kind of energy. Just back off. It's almost coming out like cut them off, but it's more like I'm seeing this. Like, okay, they want you to stay back. Don't force them to, like, don't force yourself upon them. Leave them be. See, there's the Page of Swords, the Nine of what. It's like an energy of, if you find them kind of giving you this page energy, give it right back to them. And if it makes them uncomfortable, so be it. But don't come from a place of, like revenge or anything like that. It's more like an energy of, okay, match the energy. If they don't make you, any sort of a priority, or anything, then you need to match that. And there's the King of Cups. See, so here would be the emotionally unavailable. Here would be the available. But what it feels like here is, it's like, don't become them, but like reserve your emotional energy for those who are emotionally available. Meet people at their level. But also kind of know it's not your place to, raise someone up if they're not ready. Okay, so now let me look at the type, because this Seven of Wands is what's really sticking out. This feels now like the other kind of energy, it's more like the aggressive type. That's like very vocal, a little aggressive. And I'm feeling it is more like, okay, I want what I want. And only what I want. If this feels like somebody who, may be very sexual with you, or kind of, I don't know if I want to say provocative. It's not even necessarily sexual. It can be. But it feels like kind of an energy of someone more who's out for themselves. And it may be someone too, like whether it's a friend or something romantic. It's like an energy of somebody where it only they matter. Only what they want is what matters. As long as they get what they want. It's kind of like someone who, will use another person for, be it their good energy, loving nature, this, that, and the other thing, because it feels good. But what it feels like is it's someone who also kind of wants to have their cake and eat it too. Now, this can be romantic or not. Because there are definitely, friends out there like this, who they see other people. And it's not really romantic, but the other person has something that they want. And in this case, it's feeling like maybe even love or just support, good energy, but they don't really give it off themselves. Like they're just kind of like, it almost feels like kind of, it's going to be different for everyone's situation. This is more coming out like, like a bottom feeder in a way. Let me just see here. See, so look at what's coming out. So the way to deal with the death card came out again, but also the star. It's an energy. This is somebody who, will use you or wants to use you for the benefits that you bring to their life. The way to deal with that, see, it's an interesting, the Tower came out first. Now the Death card. You have to set boundaries again with these types, and the star is here as well. Don't let these types, disrupt your peace. It's kind of like putting an end to it before you get in too deep. Or even if you're in too deep, let's say you're in deep, maybe your feelings are involved. Because even with friends, close friends, there is a love there, and there are feelings that, form. It feels like, in a way, do yourself the favor and just end it. It's kind of, look at that. And the Empress is here, and also the Page of Cups. See, this is like an energy of, being friendly, okay? But with someone like that, you can only give a page energy. Otherwise, you will be drained. You have to keep it at a healthy level. In other words, like they see you kind of as a star, as a glowing light. But be wary what you give to the emotionally, to this type, that's kind of aggressive and wants what they want out of you. You have to keep it like, no, you're not getting that. Like let's say somebody, who wants to see you, when they want to see you. But then when you want to see them, there's always an excuse. There's this, there's that. You have to set boundaries. It's almost like don't let your good nature get the best of you. See, this is more coming out, like the emotional unavailable. This is more like for those of you dealing, maybe with like it's based in like a selfish kind of energy of like, I want. But their values are kind of self-centered. It's in the wrong place. The Emperor is here. And the Hierophant. It's like too controlling, too much masculine energy. So that's the one side of the coin. It's like their way or the highway. And unfortunately, until they soften their heart, you will either just kind of become a victim of it, or like if you don't fit into their world, to what they want, you'll end up just kind of a pawn in it. If you get into deep with them or, have any sort of, expectations. Healthy, even healthy ones. It won't work. So the best way is to definitely just keep a boundary up with them. Now let me see now, because now there is one more type that I'm feeling for this reading, and it's someone, who is more on the emotional side. Let me see. Okay, now this is no. What's coming on now, this is like the player type, the Fool. The Fool. So now the way to deal with, players, like those, like let's say someone, who doesn't tell you directly, okay, I'm not interested or this and that. This is like a player. This is like somebody who, let's say you make plans. Oh yeah, and they give you that vague response. Oh yeah, we'll see, right? but then they never actually show up. But it's kind of like this polite energy where they're, polite with everybody, and, they want to be friends with everybody. The way to deal with this is to just call it out. Like, so are you going to actually show up or not? The way to deal with these types, you have to confront them. Don't get angry, but see, they'll probably get angry. This is like an energy of, absolutely, the Queen of Wands kept coming out. This is like, just say it for what it is and ignore it. Or even like someone who makes plans with you and then at the last minute, there's always an excuse. Oh, sorry, I can't make it. So the next time what you do, you either just kind of tell them, why, so you can cancel out on me again? Or just say it like it is. No, I'm really not interested. Tower. Don't be afraid to say things like it is. Communicate. See, that's definitely another type. Those are the trickiest ones to do, because they make it in such a way where, they try and then you rearrange your schedule and and then, there's always some excuse at the last minute. It's very unstable. Now, the final type, is someone who now is, I feel like, maybe heartbroken, or very emotional. It's kind of like, they would like a relationship or they would like something close, but they're kind of afraid of that. The way to deal with that, I feel, is more like a kinder approach and kind of give them the choice, like, well, you can have this, you can have it, you just have to want it. You kind of like choose your happiness. Three of Cups, Five of Wands. In this case, like if someone, let's say it's someone who is, I don't know, whether it's, this feels more like an emotional, maybe it could be someone who just recently had a loss or a blow. Give them time, give them space, but don't force them to do it. It feels though, like with this Five of Wands, it's more like a nudge, not a force, but like worded in a way where you give them the choice. No judgment here. You do what you need to do. But ultimately, they're going to need to come out of it themselves. Feels like kind of like offering them a way out, let's say, or like, hey, here's the kind of torch, but give them the choice. But sometimes, these are people like, who are very afraid of like being taken advantage of. People with trust issues, the only thing you can do is like kind of show them that you're not, okay? But at the same time, they're also very guarded. So you kind of just need to show them that, you are who you are, but don't force them. If they want to be mistrustful, and again, they may have, been betrayed in the past, but ultimately they're going to need to get over it and make peace with that in order to have any sort of a relationship with you. Okay? The gist here with emotionally unavailable, it's kind of like you either have to end it with them or kind of be patient. But when I say be patient, see the energy of the Emperor is here. Always maintain control of your life. Don't sacrifice your life for another. Okay? Especially, people who are emotionally unavailable. Okay? So that's what I feel. And I hope this helps somebody out there. I'm sending you so much love. Bye-bye now.